Staying with us as you relax and spend time with your loved ones as we head to the end of the festive season. Spare thought for medical teams that continue to be hard at work. Gauteng Health MEC Bandile Masuku spent New Year's Eve with the Johannesburg EMS, and he joins us now to tell us more about his experience. Dr. Masuku, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You spent a night out on one of the busiest nights for the men and women who work in emergency services, and you lived to tell the tale. What was it like?
Thank you, and compliments of the new season, and thanks for having us. It was a great experience, and I think I keep discovering all the time on how difficult the circumstances our health workers work through, particularly the EMS, you know, and I think it was a good experience, and also we also relate to the issues that relates to the trauma that we have seen, you know, throughout the night. We were actually reporting and responding to calls of patients and people that were stabbed and shot throughout the night, and that was the most difficult part of it, that the health system in Gauteng is burdened with a lot of trauma injuries.
Now, you obviously saw the one side of the activities that South Africans and other people who make their home here get into on a night of big festivities. So the core issues are one that you would probably go back to your colleagues in local government to talk about how you can lighten the burden on the departments or the health people who work under your department. What, in terms of what you saw on New Year's Eve night, are some of the core issues that lead to our medical teams being so busy?
I think the most difficult aspect is the alcohol consumption. You know, I think we don't have a problem with people being excited and enjoying themselves, particularly during this time of festivities. But I think the issue of alcohol consumption is a big problem, because all the trauma cases that we responded to were all associated with alcohol consumption. And I think what we need to do is to talk about the issues that relates to regulation of alcohol usage, particularly even for the young ones, and also how alcohol is portrayed in the media, because that's where most of our burden comes from. You know, it's not the first time we did another night call with our staff in Polar Park Clinic in Ekurhuleni. Also, the people that came in that night were people that were stabbed, assaulted, and all it was associated with alcohol. So I think there's a lot that we need to do with regulation of alcohol consumption.
Now, how much more difficult does that make the job of our paramedics and indeed the staff in our emergency departments in the hospitals?
Because these are patients that also become a bit aggressive, you know, and also the people that come to escort them or bring them to hospital, if they don't come through EMS, they also become very aggressive in our casualties. So all the cases, some of the cases that are being reported on people who are getting violent in our casualties are the ones that are, besides the psychosis, the usual psychosis, but it's also alcohol consumption problems.
So outside of them just having their medical skills that they're highly skilled at, they also need to have people skills to be able to deal with these difficult situations.
It's one of those difficult situations that we also want them, particularly in the front line, that we train them. We train ourselves to deal with those difficult situations, but we also want to outlaw, try to get laws that will put into place in that casualty is our sacred place, and we need to be allowed to do our work without anyone hindering us. And we see that safety of our staff members is one of the paramount things that we need to look at going forward.
Resources, obviously a huge talking point all the time in your departments. Just recently, earlier this in December, it's last month, I almost forgot, there was a statement from your department saying that the province intends filling 2,000 critical posts at academic, tertiary and specialized hospitals in the current financial year. That can only be good news for your department and those who need your services so desperately.
Yes, I think we are working on filling all the posts up. We even established a central email system where people who require to fill in the vacancies that we have to send their emails and CVs and forms for their jobs there, and then we'll allocate them to relevant institutions and facilities. So staffing is a big problem. You know, even now, just dealing with the issues relating to the trauma that we saw over this period, you know, our ICUs, all our ICU nurses, all our IC doctors were overburdened. You know, our casualty staff were also overburdened. We spent time also with those in Charlotte Maxeke casualty that night, and it is also actually burdensome. So the issue of filling the post are the ones that we are going to prioritize, you know, including the ones in community service and the interns that are coming on board now.
Off the top of your head, do you know where most of those needs are in terms of those vacant posts?
Mostly are in our regional and district hospitals, but we just want to look at all our areas and, you know, our facilities. Our 24-hour community health care centers are the ones that we also want to put priority on, particularly in terms of being manned or being having doctors, you know, on duty every night, because we have seen that most of our CHCs, if they can work fully functionally, you know, our hospitals will not be overburdened with the numbers that we see.
Well, we thank you so much for your time and for the work that your department does. Gauteng Health MEC Bandile Masuku joining us in the studio this morning. We thank you so much for that.